All right, so today is October 4th, 2019, and we're here at the Golden Eagles reunion for the class of 1969, 50th. And I'm here with, could you please say your name?
Leonard Cohen,
Leonard. Hi, Leonard.
not the
Nice to
dead
meet
guy.
you. Okay. uh, so, would you mind just telling us about a memory that you have from the um, year of 1969?
Sure. I'm really glad I went to American University. It was very uh, good for my whole life, basically. I studied political science, and I could summarize 4 years of political science with three words: follow the money. Because that's what it's all about. Who's paying for what? Just like Deep Throat and Watergate. Follow the money. It's always the money that's behind everything. Everything. The thug Rush Limbaugh, the creepy cretin from the right, he's not that powerful. It's all the millions of dollars in back of him by right wing fascists. That really is what's going on here. Without them, he's a piece of dirt on the street. Should be stepped on like a piece of dog shit. Anyway, so my education was very good, political science, and it came in very handy in my career. Now, my career was in sales, and you might say, well, what does political science have to do with sales? Well, political science taught me to study, to understand things, to study the right things, and to learn how to deal with people. That's the most important thing, learn how to deal with people. I pride myself in that I could talk to anybody from almost any race, any ethnic background, any group, any color, anything, and get along with them just well. I get along with most people, mostly strangers. mostly str- Strangers are the most interested. Like I could tell an interesting story to some of my friends, and if there's an interruption, like the phone rings, I used to just resume the chat after the interruption. And then I said, well, what if I don't? What if I wait for them to ask me, then what happens? They never do. You try it in your life. 95% of the time, they will not ask, which means they don't really give a damn. They're not paying attention. What's important to you is not important to them. That's important to understand. Now, strangers, on the other hand, are very interested because some of them no one talks to them. So, and I have really fascinating stories about my life. Done some interesting things.
So you mentioned the new AU building.
Yeah,
Were you part of any
yes,
protests in 1969?
absolutely. That was a new building, and I, I forgot exactly what sparked Hardy, who's inside there. I think it was, yes, it was the invasion of Cambodia by Nixon. And we were all against the war in Vietnam. But when he expanded it into Laos and Cambodia and didn't even tell people that they were doing, the American people were financing this. The war was being fought in their name. They were killing literally millions of Cambodians and Cambodian peasants, farmers who were doing nothing, nothing, but they were getting killed by bombs and napalm um, because they happened to live there. And we invaded that country, for those too young to remember, because the Ho Chi Minh Trail went through those countries. So it was brutal. There's a place called the Plain of Jars, which became a moonscape because so much tonnage of bombs were dropped on the Plain of Jars that there was nothing left. They killed every single living thing: trees, bushes, plants, animals, insects, people. Didn't matter. If you were in the Plain of Jars, you were now ashes. So that's why we took over that, and we had support from some of the progressive faculty, namely Jim Weaver, who has passed away, and Jim Weaver and Gary Weaver. And Gary Weaver, who's passed away, I think 2 years ago, was kept on by the faculty because his wife was very wealthy. And I think she was a donor. I'm not positive of that, but that was the story. So a couple of years ago, my friend Hardy was my roommate in senior year. We lived in Glover Park, which was called the AU Ghetto. There's a lot of AU students lived there. And our rent was $96 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. And they never charged us utilities. Never. So,
were you in the University and Revolutions class with the leaders?
Yeah. We took University and Revolution, and that was a very good class. And I think he got in some mildly hot water because he brought in like Eldridge Cleaver, who was a revolutionary black guy at the time, and the administration, which was very conservative at the time, did not approve of that. Now, when I came here in '65, it was a dry campus. It was run by the Protestants, I think, or the Presbyterians. Dry campus. Now, I was in the theater for 2 years. And after every play, guess what? There was a cast party. And to the cast party, I first learned the phrase BYOB, bring your own booze. So I had to literally take a box of Nabisco chocolate chip cookies, take out the whole bag, and put my 6-pack of Miller in that and hide it in my dorm room because I could be kicked out. Then, by the time I left here, they put a bar in. There was a bar in here. And now I'm told it's gone. It's dry again, which I find hard to believe. I guess people are too busy smoking dope to bother with beer. Stick with beer. So what else? Oh, so after I told you about the UFO.
No, I would love to hear about the UFO.
Okay. When I graduated, I went to Columbia, South Carolina to work in a coffee house that was there to support GIs at Fort Jackson training base who were against the war. So I went there as a volunteer, no pay, room and board. And by board, I mean like we ate tuna fish. There was like 25 cents a can. And I mopped the floor. Went there early every day, mopped the floor. I liked it. And at night, on Friday and Saturday night, there was a band called Speed Limit 35. That was a local hot band. And they would play for nothing for us because they liked what we were doing. And I stood outside because the music was too loud for me. And I collected $1 from each and every person who came in. So that's how we earned some money. And I put it in this front pocket. Now, one night, I go out back, and we had a back door to the place. I go out the back door, and there's a cop there. And the cop tells me, uniform cop, go back inside. And I don't take authority too well. I just don't do too well. So I came out. I said, "What are you doing?" And he arrests me. He handcuffs me, throws me up against the wall, and I call some people from inside. And I say, "Call Reba." Reba was Reba Bolt, our ACLU attorney from Columbia. So they take me to jail. And when they get to jail, they find all these $1 bills in my pocket. So they're sure they caught a drug dealer. But they don't find any drugs. They don't find any traces of drugs. So they put me in a cell. I stay overnight there. When I wake up in the morning, this orange. I still can see the orange on my bench. So, best orange I've ever had. And then a cop comes in to interview me, and I say to him, "I don't talk to flat feet. Get me a guy in a suit." A few minutes later, a guy in a suit comes in. And I said, "I have some advice for you, too. Go out and buy yourself a box of Betty Crocker cupcake mix, because you're going to need to have a bake sale for your next paycheck, because the ACLU is going to break you." And I said, "You got nothing on me. You know this is all bullshit. You thought I was selling drugs. I'm the main proponent of no drugs in the political environment because you're going to get busted. So he lets me go. So I walk back to the UFO, and everyone there says, Lenny, what are you doing here? We just called Remote to come up from Atlanta. And I said, I'm sorry, I talked my way out. They were disappointed that I wasn't in jail. But don't worry. Come December of that year, I would still be 69. A few months after I graduated from this university. Where was I?
You're used to the trick. You were coming a few months after you came back to the university after UFO.
Oh, so after the UFO thing, we get 6 years of hard labor, and come back for the appeal, and the prosecutor's name was John Ford, like the film director, John Ford. He says, "You guys can just go. There's no appeal." And our attorney says they were duly convicted by a court of law. They have to be duly unconvicted. He said, "Son," and this is in the transcript, "Son, this is South Carolina. I can do whatever I damn well please. Now I want to tell you boys, go out of state because if you're caught here doing jaywalking, you'll be in jail." So I went home for a few days and I went to Cuba for 2 months as a volunteer for what was then called the Venceremos Brigade, which were volunteers to work in Cuba. Originally it was to cut sugarcane, but we were the first brigade, the 5th, to build houses. So I did that. And then came back and started living with a woman who's been my wife for 40 some odd years. We have 3 children, 7 wonderful grandchildren, 4 of whom live in Israel. And by the way, I think Israel gets a bad rap on these campuses. Israel is the greatest place you've ever been. It's really fair. There's word about it being apartheid, bullshit to that. They import blacks from Ethiopia who are discriminated against, arm them with Uzis, teach them how to fight. No apartheid regime does that. So that's a total misinformation. It's going around the campuses. What else?
Oh.
Anything else you'd like to know?
I mean, thank you for sharing your story with us today. I know, yeah, just thanks.
This is a good campus, and I hope they keep on doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story. Thank you.
Thank you.